Welcome back to Sports Rap from Borders, and certainly what an honor and a privilege it is to have Christine Brennan with us. And Christine, first of all, welcome. Congratulations on your book. But before we get to the book, I've got to ask you, you're so talented. You have a myriad of talents. You've covered the Olympics. You're obviously a great writer. I read the book. Get the book. It's a great book. You've interviewed individual athletes and portrayals, and I mean, you do it all. Is there one part of this that is more fun for you or more exciting, or is it the whole composite?
Well, it's a great question, Tom. And I think for me, if I pick one part of it, the variety is great. In fact, I'm very lucky to have variety. So many people in their daily jobs, it's the same thing. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I have everything completely up for grabs. When the morning starts, I have no idea necessarily how my day is going to end. I don't even know if I'll be on a plane by the end of the day. It can be a little disjointed at times, but it's also, look at it as a great pleasure, a great honor to have that kind of career. But the Olympics to me is the essence and the greatest thing in sports. And to think that as a little girl growing up in Toledo, just a mile or mile and a half from where we are right now, I would watch the Olympic Games and I would just be in love with them and be so sad that when they ended, I'd actually get tears in my eyes because I was such a goofball about the Olympics. I've covered 12 Olympic Games now in a row. Los Angeles Olympics all the way through the Torino Games just a few months ago in Italy. And that is just, I guess for all the kids out there, who have a dream. I remember when I was 18 watching the Olympics on television, and if someone had said to me, after this Olympics and you'll be in college for the 1980 Olympics, and then 84, you'll cover every Olympics from Los Angeles all the way now through Italy, 12 Olympics in a row, I never would have believed it. And I think it really proves that your dreams can come true. And I know it can sound a little hokey and cliched, but that's really the way I feel about it. And so I guess of all the things, just the honor and the delight of covering the Olympic Games is really number one, the highlight to me.
Christine, it's not hokey at all, and your life really is a Hollywood movie in itself. For a young woman during your time period to think of a career in sports, I mean, let's face it, that would be an anomaly. Today, you're one of the people that has, opened the door. My daughter's very interested in sports broadcasting because of people like you, because you've opened that door. You've kind of kicked that door down and said, hey, you can not only have a career, but you can be outstanding at it. An Olympic athlete, you've covered so many of them, is one that comes to mind that you enjoyed more than others. Who would that be?
As an Olympic athlete?
Yeah.
I think maybe Jackie Joyner-Kersee, the heptathlete, Olympic gold medalist in that, and the long jump, great Olympian from the 84, 88, 92, and 96 Olympics. Just a quality person. She's from East St. Louis, Illinois, very bad neighborhood. Kids were killed in the streets, drug deals, all the worst things you can think about with urban America. And yet not only was she a great athlete, but a great person. She ended up moving back after she retired to St. Louis to live there with her husband. And she spends a lot of her time dealing with kids and children in the inner city, trying to help those kids. And one of my favorite stories in sports is Jackie Joyner-Kersee gets named the MC or the Master of Ceremonies, whatever, honorary chair of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And she gets to bring a person or two with her. She didn't bring just one or two people. She brought 20 people, all kids, inner city kids from East St. Louis, Illinois, to be on the float with her and to participate in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's the quality human being she is, giving back. I believe in that personally in Toledo, giving back as much as I can. Someone like Jackie Joyner-Kersee really lives it. So many athletes, after they retire, they put their feet up, they enjoy their money, and Jackie's the complete opposite. She just continues to give back to her community. So I think I'd have to pick her just as a great athlete, one of the greatest female athletes ever of all time, but also then as a great person.
Christine, that's well said. And now we've got to get to your book, Best Seat in the House. Fantastic book. Mr. Mix and Mr. Ely are prominently displayed in that. And we talked a little bit off air. You couldn't profile two better people than those two gentlemen. And but the book, to me, it strikes a chord. Because if you've ever watched a game with your dad or your mom or a family member, and those games, kind of brought you together and they meant things to you, and it was part of the fabric of your family and your social background and your social existence, And I think the book is on a lot of planes. It's a sports book, but it's a lot more than that, and it's about family and relationships. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, really for me, sports was a family affair, and it was my father in Old Orchard. We were growing up in Old Orchard right across the street from the University of Toledo, so much of this book is Toledo. It's a Toledo story in many ways, and I know people who've already read it have told me, well, hey, I live 2 blocks from where you grew up, or our kids play on Goddard Field, and that's what we were doing. But those lights of the Glass Bowl, when I was growing up, I could stand in the front yard and see the glow of the lights from the Glass Bowl Stadium. And this is in 64, 65. I'm 6, 7 years old, and my dad would go to games. He'd been an offensive lineman in college, high school and college in Chicago, and then Drake University. And my dad would go to these, occasionally go for half the game with some of his neighborhood friends. And as soon as I got old enough, he would take me, and I couldn't wait to figure out what was so magical, that all these people were streaming past our house to go to this game, and the lights, and what was the magic going on under the lights at the Glass Bowl. And so that was it. It was my dad having the opportunity to take me, and then my sister, my brother, and then a younger sister. Pretty soon we had season tickets for Toledo Rockets games, season tickets for Michigan football in Ann Arbor. We would do double headers, Michigan in the afternoon, Toledo at night. Mud Hen season tickets, of course, in the spring and summer. I just couldn't get enough of sports. My dad wasn't pushing me. It was I who wanted this, and he, of course, went along for the ride. But it was very unusual. A lot of people said, well, it must have been your dad, giving you the nudge. No, I was into it. I kept score of games. I traded baseball cards. I pored over the statistics, Tom. There was something about sports that just attracted me. And then with my father's interest himself in it, it just worked in concert beautifully to create this wonderful love affair with sports.